Kiva.
And I'm Jake from Tiny Nest, and we're here at Iron Eagle Trailers, where the owner Rob has asked us to help him build a demonstration of how you can build and secure your floor structure for your tiny house in this style of trailer.
This demonstration is to show the concept of how to build the floor structure. You wouldn't necessarily use the hardware that we're using here.
Yeah, for example, you wouldn't want to secure your entire walls with bolts that you're seeing us use here. For a good example on an option for how you can secure the entire wall, have a look at the video on our build and how we did that.
It's just like starting from the beginning again, hey Jake?
Oh yeah, a little bit more efficient the method here. So I'm drilling the holes that will accept the bolts that are going to go horizontally through the frame to hold up that floor framing.
Turn the bolt around.
The less that's sticking in, it'd be easier to get the insulation in tighter.
What are you doing, Jake?
I was just marking the hanger height to make sure that the top of the joist will be flush with the top of our rim joist.
Oh, nice. Then another one?
Close enough. So we've got the rim joists, like the outer joists, just bolted to the frame, and we bolted them right at the right height to make them flush with the flange, the width extensions. And then we marked out our 16 on center joists and just put hangers down, and we just dropped them in place because it's just for demonstration to see how it's all going to fit together. And now, well, first of all, that's different than the way we did it in our build. We built sort of a prefab cage and dropped it in, and this is way easier because you kind of work one thing at a time rather than trying to build a big chunk and hope it fits perfectly. And then the next thing we're going to do differently from our build is before we put that subfloor down, we're going to put down the bottom plates and secure those, and then do that subfloor paneling in between, like in the space in between the bottom plates. I should also mention that the way we're going about this by putting these bottom plates down first, these could represent the bottom plates of entire wall segments that are going down. We do that at this stage if we were actually building this, or you could go about it the way we went about it in our build, which was that we actually did put down these single bottom plates first, just as a way to make it easier to work with. We squared these up with our marks and made sure the measurements were all perfect so that we didn't have to wrangle huge wall pieces, those tiny amounts, and square them up just right. We just had to line them up with these bottom plates that we had already done that precision work with. So what we're doing here as a demonstration is a bit closer to that style, where we're going to just put these bottom plates down and use them as a guide to do the next step, which would be the subfloor paneling here. Okay, we got our framing just kind of roughly in place the way we would be doing it if we were really building. Of course, it would be better than this, obviously. But now Rob's just going to rip down a piece of plywood to 93¼ inches, which is the space between the inner side of this framing and the inner side of that. And then we also laid out our floor joists here so that from the inner side of this end wall to the center of this joist is 4 feet. So that first sheet can be a full sheet this way, and it's just a tiny slice we need to do for the length to narrow it or shorten it lengthwise. And then of course from there you just continue on, and only really the last sheet where you have to narrow it on the 4-foot dimension.
That's it.
So we've cut down a piece of plywood to represent the subfloor, and like I said, it's 4 feet to the center of this, so if we just lower it down, it lines up nicely halfway across, like in the center of this joist. And this is just loose here, but you can see that when we line it up with the back flange here, everything is perfectly square. So the way we've got it configured here, the last little bit of the floor actually sits directly out over top of the metal width extensions. And so if we were in a cold climate and worried about the cold metal of the trailer producing a cold sort of strip along the ends of our flooring, we could actually just raise the whole framing structure up. And so we'll show an example of that and how that would affect and solve that issue. So we just popped some blocks of wood underneath to shim it up for demonstration, but what you would do is just bolt it in at this height, or use thicker framing like 2x8s or something, to get this result, which is the surface of the framing is up above the level of the width extensions, like the deck height here. And we'll put the plywood on and you'll see, but the idea here is that you can now put down some insulation, like a rigid foam or something, inside this volume that will be underneath the subfloor. And you could also put a couple blocks of wood or something as support so that it's not flapping and you're not crushing the foam underneath. But the vast majority of that volume would be insulation separating the subfloor from the metal of the trailer. So you can see the gap here that we could fill with foam insulation. And the other thing about this is that, so in addition to having completely isolated ourselves from the metal of the trailer, nowhere on the floor is it in direct contact with the trailer. We've hardly used any height above the deck because all the floor is sunken in, and we have potentially like a 2x8 thick floor with that much more insulation all around.
I want to thank you guys for coming out and helping put together this demonstration. It's going to help a lot of people.
Right on, thanks for having us.
Thanks for watching. If you want to see an in-depth video on the new Iron Eagle trailer design, click here.
And if you want to see the entire building series for the tiny nest that you see behind us, which uses an Iron Eagle trailer, click here.
And if you want to check out our website, click here. Should I keep filming?
Feeling me struggling?
Yeah.
Ta-da!
Yeah, exactly.